I don't think.
Are you giving me the like role?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Oh, yeah. Which makes sense. So.
Can you pre-record?
Oh, yeah. Oh, okay.
You're a doctor now. Good your job. All right. Wait, did you start this thing? Okay.
Wait, double check, just double check. Okay, now it's moving.
Yeah.
Okay, she's moving.
So if you hover over the team side.
Oh my God, wait, the mouse does not wanna.
You're excited.
I mean, I'm
Excited. Oh my God. Am I gonna try
By Friday.
someone else, cause. Oh, it's the first thing you do it. Okay.
It was supposed to be.
It's possible.
I fear.
It might be too far away.
She's like.
For real?
I mean, it's not.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Middle of closer, get the back.
See, now it's working.
It literally is.
It's literally just a tiny bit more, and that's fine.
Do you mind clicking on it? I just want to know if it's online. The middle, yeah.
I'm just.
It's James and Lola, I believe.
Okay, so no Emily.
This bitch isn't. Oh, okay. Not you, I'm talking about the keyboard.
No.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah, Lola and Jay.
and we're live. Okay, that's great. We're signing up. Great. All right. I'm gonna call this meeting of the Student Senate to order at 5:04 PM. Lovely. Okay, first thing on our agenda, we've got revisions to the agenda. There are a few things that I want to propose. First, I spoke with MJ earlier today, and she wanted to try to get here by the end of the meeting to give her report herself. So I'm proposing that we move her report to other business. And the other thing is, I'm assuming you all got an email from Adam. So just wanna, if someone to, maybe I should elaborate on that. A lot of you would have, or most of you, all of you, should have gotten an email from Adam, about the ESD bargaining resolution item on this agenda. If the Senate wants to, table that, I'd welcome a motion to do that, and let's do the other thing also. If anyone wants to make that motion, I think there were some concerns. Adam has, reached out to the Assistant Attorney General to, do due diligence on the, conflict of interest concerns that he had raised in that email. I don't personally share those concerns, but, if the Senate wants to table it, until later, or just to take off the agenda, that's fine, thank you.
I'm kind of interested in actually having a discussion about that.
Okay.
But I don't know. I think I would agree. Even if it's like a discussion, but then keeping the email in mind.
Okay, so there's no motion, no one wants to move to,
Sure.
to move that from the agenda?
There are options to move the report from the College of Fine Arts,
Okay,
Fine and Performing Arts to
second on that one?
later. Okay.
Okay, any objections to moving MJ's report to other business? No, you're gonna move MJ's report to other business. It sounds like, the Senate doesn't want to, get rid of that ESD resolution item. So we'll keep that on the agenda. Yeah. All right, any other revisions to the agenda people want to propose? Actually, there was one that didn't end up on here. But I do want to add in other business, 5 minutes for Sophie Snyder, our VP for Student Services, to come in. He wants to discuss something about like student services, like office tours and maybe elections. I don't know. It's something, Sophie's doing something, wanted to talk about it. So just like, I don't know. Nelly, do you want like a very clear thing to add to the agenda? Or you can just write Sophie Snyder asking Senator's question about something. Or
A visit from.
a visit from Sophie Snyder.
Snyder.
A visit from Snyder. Is anyone opposed to putting a visit from Sophie Snyder in the other business? No, that's great. Okay, we do. Wonderful. We should have a quorum. We have 2 people online and we have
That's.
8 in the room.
Okay.
Yeah. So we'll move on to consent items, which are the minutes from last week. Oh, Daisy.
Oh, yes. One thing for the minutes is that we adjourned, it's so small, but we adjourned at 6 and not 6:30. That's it.
Wait, I don't see that one. It says 6:04 on my screen.
I looked at the wrong minute. I was so proud of myself for catching something and I was like, yeah. Wrote it down like 5 days ago. Okay.
Nelly, do you want to read it?
Huh?
I thought you raised your hand for that.
No,
No, okay.
no.
Anything else on the minute? No, okay, then I welcome a motion to approve the consent items. Anyone wants to?
Hardgrove motion to approve the consent item.
Okay, moved by Hargrove, is there a second on that motion?
Absolutely.
Moved by Hargrove, seconded by Echelon. Any discussion on that? No, okay, all those in favor of approving consent items, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say nay. Are there any abstentions? And then if you're online, can you just send it in the chat? It looks like they both did, okay. That passes 10-0-0. Oh, never mind. 11, wait. There's 3 people online.
Oh.
11-0-0.
Wait.
Oh, it's Lola, Ellen, and James that are online. It looks
Oh,
fine.
okay.
We're doing great. Okay, we'll move on to public forum then. I don't see anyone from the public. Is there anyone in the whatever? Or any Q&A?
Oh.
Please, please, stop it.
Thank you.
0 line of Andrew. Can't read, I'm blind.
I'm not even seeing that. Okay, it says 4 people, so that's us
That's not
plus 3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
great. Doesn't seem like there's anyone here for public forum. Yeah, oh, if no one wants to speak in public forum. Doesn't seem like it, I'll move on from public forum to Senate reports, and I've moved these to the front so that you guys can't get out of them. So we'll start with the College of Business and Economics. We'll hand it off to you, Daisy, and Devin.
Devin, you can kick us off.
Alright. Well, this is just general report.
Yeah, it's like what you've been doing. Just as if you draw things you want to share with the Senate.
Well, so I finished my personal thing. I finished my internship on Monday. More taxing for a little bit. So now with that extra time, I can rejoin the AID committee in my college. So I will be doing that. Other than that, I have been working on the AI worker resolution, going to contribute to that, as well as serving on the student advisory committee. Did a lot of research for the student advisory committee. I have been working on a memo as Gabe knows, and it's already at 1,900 words. So it's that has been taking up a lot. Other than that, been serving on policy council, and that has been pretty standard stuff. A lot of procedural stuff. Like we went recently and looked at how we were going to implement a new system to evaluate adjunct instructors for performance. I don't want to say performance, but it's like merit raises, right? It's like 3% merit increase in their base salary, and how are we going to assess that and implement it? So that was a fun conversation to have. Yeah. Stacey, would you like to go?
Yeah, sure. Just generally been doing a lot of stuff for the Academic Coordinating Commission. And under that umbrella, a lot of my time recently has been dedicated to the PEJ Task Force, grant proposal, so that we can gain funding to pay 2 students to sit on that task force for next year. Which is just super important. So I've been working with Gabe on that and, Melly low-key, because you were in that meeting one time. And so I've just been, doing that, trying to get some funding. We know that, there are so many avenues. With each avenue comes a lot of signatures and a lot of email harassment from me to other people. And then, I've been working with the bylaws group. We had a meeting this morning. We have a really good timeline situation going. Also a lot of stuff with, the appointment process that we're working on. I set up meetings with, people who have been appointed in the past year. I think I only need to meet with Zoe and Devin and talk about these things. It's just some kind of post-appointment questions, because we're kind of overhauling I don't know if that's the right word to use. We're looking at our process and our questions and stuff, and that's gonna come back in a few minutes. What else do I do? When I wrote my Senate report, okay, yeah, I actually have a list. Okay, that's good. Oh, I'm putting together an event with Isaac. That's gonna be super cool. It's called Candidates and Crafts, and it's to hopefully get all of the candidates in one room for this upcoming election, everybody hanging out, making some crafts, and then hopefully also a bunch of students to kind of talk to them. So you'll probably be hearing about that within a little while. I think that's scheduled for the second or third week of May. Oh yeah, Devin and I met with our dean a little bit ago, and we talked about she wants to form a new group within CBE that is all of the CBE student leaders, so that they can have communications with her directly, very often. So that's super cool. I would say that's a dub. Wasn't my idea, but it's still a dub. And yeah.
Also.
Yeah.
So this is happening tomorrow. I don't know if there's still time to RSVP or not, but CBE is hosting the Spring Gala. Please come. It's an awesome time. It's hosted by all the CBE clubs, and it's just kind of a celebration for the end of the year. Anyone's invited. You don't need to be part of CBE. But yeah, we'd love to have you guys.
Super lit. Super lit. That's all.
Any questions for the CBE people? Yeah, Nelly.
What's Isaac's last name?
Oh,
Brand, okay. Thank you.
There's no other questions for CBE senators. We can move on to the qualifications and social finance senators.
You want to say here? Okay, so for us, we've been in, this. The SDI committee for a company. And it's been really interesting, seeing how, we were currently, when I wrote this, finishing up or trying to work on our charter, our committee. And I didn't realize how many, I don't know, it was very interesting being in a room full of them, and then it's just them being but this wording means this thing, and the things, because for me, the secondary uses went over my head, because English is confusing at times. It was so interesting seeing how they would change language. We would change it very often. It took a long time for us to really get to what we consider our finished product now, which we finally were able to finish on our charter. To kind of really put the understanding and the foundation work for the position of power, the ADI that we have. So we finally finished that, and it was great meeting at the end. And then on the other side, she was in the AC committee. She wrote no updates so far. And then kind of more newer project that we heard also within our own SDI committee. That there's talk of a new hire for the ADI training alongside Japanese. And we were actually able to talk very briefly with, the VP of diversity, Morgan, so we get with her. And we kind of just like discussed like who the ADI chair is and like, more with like the units within each college. Yeah, and then I also should be doing, you guys see me, tailoring, for the students, and I like to think it went well. I was letting them know that the group is probably just bored of seeing us, or tired of seeing us, tabling, but I know for a fact there's a few individuals who are very excited, to, learn more, and like, I think something, they came back and told me that they signed up for something. So I was so excited, I was like, I got my job, it's working. Um, and I was bamboozled a couple times by like students who were at the admitted students. Maybe.
Sorry.
No, it's funny because the way that I got we were so ready for like 3 people to be like, oh yeah, you should join, and then they're like, can I join if I'm not a student? I'm like, oh, don't say that, why would you say that? But I like to think that it went well. Obviously, no, there's just certain points where outreach, there's certain limitations to it. And just have to learn to accept that, we can't outreach everyone tailoring at one spot on these certain days. And it's just, people are people, they just don't walk by you if you're not there. But I think the rice reading treats, especially the Lotus, were a great attraction to people, because I know that people know that every time they like, are they free? And I'd be like, yeah, and you're gonna learn about superintendent. And then I would read their stream very slowly. So I could keep giving them the spiel. And regardless, they have to walk away already knowing about what superintendent is. Yeah, that's all. That's all, that's great.
Any questions for the students or potential senators? Yeah, okay, I do have a question. So you said you had met with, Morgan about something with ADE equities across all the colleges, is that?
Actually, it was like a very like informal like conversation, remember, we just happened to all be at the same time, same place. So we just had asked her the question, about whether or not, well, not whether or not, but we just discussed like the ADA like chairs and like if there were like units within like each college.
Okay, so when you say the chair, you mean the chairs of the ADE committee within each college? Okay.
And I think that's what I remember.
There's no other questions? Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah.
Or comments?
Great job tabling. I feel like you were always at the table. And I walked with you and I was like, awesome. So happy, like you did a great job.
Thank you, thanks so much.
Yeah, Amigo literally fell down for it.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I don't know what we would have done. I would have had to cancel like half the days if you hadn't helped. And
We got lucky that I only have 2 days for this, so it worked out perfectly. It worked out so perfectly.
yeah, it was really good.
Feminist.
Well, and we know that like tabling works too, because of like talking with university communications offices, like they explicitly told us that like, if we want to do outreach, we should do as much in person as possible, and that like flyers around campus aren't really super helpful. So like, we know it works, and so they're a big help, we're all very grateful.
But yeah, okay, I was saying, so like for the few individuals who were like didn't really know, but like they seemed interested, I will say that just being able to like really talk to them and like just kind of get to know them a little bit more, kind of really did help them not just understand like student senate, but like also maybe having an interest in applying. But that's just what I saw, when it came to like certain things coming up, that like they really having that like interaction, like that one-on-one interaction really helped kind of solidify like their know-how of what Senate is, at least just understand that like Senate is like a thing. And regardless if they sign up or not, like they still know like election will be coming up, and to vote and to have friends of theirs to vote.
Yeah.
Equally well.
Yay.
All right. Move on to the at-large student senators report. I don't know if, James, you want to take us?
You might have to leave,
Oh, yeah.
because
Oh, yeah.
James can only, he might have
James
already
has
left.
left, okay. Thank you. I could quite consider that, it's fine. Move on then. Natalie, do you want to give us any And so,
Yeah, really quickly. I just want to reiterate, like, please submit your items on time, please. Especially since we have like meetings now, because I just want to do the agenda and upload everything just in one sitting instead of waiting like doing this for how long. Because someone forgot to submit something, or someone thought someone else didn't submit a document, and they don't, so, yeah. So yeah, that's it.
Yeah, Melly is very nice. She will take your documents way later than, you know,
I should.
she should. But
Um,
like,
That
Oh.
being said, if for some reason the
anyways,
can't submit it on time, shoot me an email saying when you'll submit your things, that way I'm not being rushed all day. Also, I do have to submit everything by 5 according to time.
yeah, it's like 24 hours in advance of the meeting time. Everything has to be on the website. So for us, that means Tuesday at 5, the website has to be done and perfect. So if you don't get a document to Nellie and then she doesn't get it on the website,
Then you don't.
it's not gonna be in the meeting, and that's okay, it happens, but yeah, so.
That's it. Thank you.
yeah, Melly.
Can we just give kudos, you know, for keeping us functioning?
Yeah, we need those, I don't know if you guys have seen in our bins for student government, how a bunch of like, we have like 50 pieces of paper that say kudos on them for some reason. So this would be a time to use them. All right, okay, yeah, we're going to move on then to input item yes, which, oh, there's actually not guest please, that's fine. That fell through. The first thing I'm gonna talk about it's the ASWWU student BDS campaign, item. I was hoping to get someone from that sort of student group that's working on that here. But I think they like had a meeting with Summit today and they're doing something else. There's like conflicts, not capacity, so they couldn't be here today. So I'm gonna try to like give a very broad overview and they haven't like fully publicly launched their campaign yet. So I'm not gonna like try to share details that I don't think they want public or haven't said they want in public yet. But yeah, basically there's a group of students with the same groups of students that have been organizing the various protests on campus throughout the year. And they're working on some sort of formal demand of our university with regards to sort of the national boycott or international boycott, divestment and sanctions movement, which is a movement that sort of is calling on just everyone to boycott, divest, and sanction the state of Israel because of its like occupation of Palestine. I think the specific demands for our university will probably mirror the demands that have been made at the Evergreen State College, the University of Washington. Those are all public demands you could look at. I think there will be probably a focus on cutting ties with Boeing, broad disclosure. I think some of those requirements might already be accounted for in some of our, like our fossil fuels, sort of disclosure stuff, but also academic boycott is a big thing, in BS movements and, divestment, from endowments and things like that, including, possibly like scholarships. Like that. I think maybe the last one is, I think, study abroad. I don't think we don't have like a super well-developed study abroad career. It's not like internal to the question. I don't think we sort of use a bunch of different providers. So I think maybe something about study abroad in Israel might come up as something that's being opposed by this group. But yeah, this is just something to keep in mind. There was originally supposed to be a resolution draft being brought to us today. But you know, things take longer than we always anticipate. So hopefully there will be a draft by that student group next week, for us to look at. But yeah, I'm open to answering questions. I don't know how good of questions or answers I can provide, or good of comments. I'm not gonna speak on behalf of those students. I'm just sort of saying they can ask me to, sort of help them out and they're thinking that that's something that I want to help out with. I think that's something that we could, yeah. And thoughts, comments? Yeah,
What does BDS stand for?
yeah, so that stands for boycott, divestment and sanctions. It's an acronym that's, I think, was created many years ago, sort of a national or international group of Palestinian activists that have developed this movement and have sort of, it's spread around the world. Yeah.
Do we know about how these, this campaign has done at Evergreen State and Washington, University of Washington?
So, yeah, so I think there have been broad divestment campaigns across like a lot of, but I think most recently and acutely at UW and at Evergreen State College, there have been student encampments, like there have been at Columbia, Breslin, Yale, USC, UCLA across the country. And those demands, I think at Evergreen just recently, there was sort of a like, I think their encampment like has gone away because the administration has agreed to some things involving like committees and like working on it or something. I don't know the details there. I think at UW it's still like the key demands are like disclosure, divestment, and like free speech and academic freedom protections, and like stopping the repression of the protesters. I think those are the three main demands. I don't know sort of the actual successes yet in Washington State. I do know there have been successes in California and some other universities more broadly. I think, actually my sister went to college, Berkeley College, and had ended I think they ended their study abroad program in Texas. Maybe I'm misremembering. I think there was some success at Pitzer College. At two of the UC schools, their student government actually, since their student government is a separate corporation, it divested itself in like funds. So there's like some of the results. I think there's varied things across different campuses in terms of what sort of the reaction from the campus community, faculty, staff, and administration are with regards to these sorts of student demands. Yeah, Devin.
Do you think you could talk a little bit more about the specifics of divesting? Like, are they advocating for divesting from investments that kind of include some of these companies that are being influenced by like Starbucks and?
Yeah, so I think, with the PBS movement, sort of had lists of, companies that are being targeted for boycott, companies that are being targeted for, divestment, and so there's sort of different groups. I don't know that off the top of my head, but I think it would be sort of the companies that are, on the boycott or on the divestment list would be the ones that would probably be, I think that's what that investment would entail. Like the specifics of that, we'll have to wait. I think they're working on an open letter to the campus community that should be coming out relatively soon. So I don't know the specifics about what that means on this, campus. Any questions or comments? No. Yeah, I guess I'll pose a question to you guys and, do you think this is something that the, student government should sort of work with this student group on, or, I don't know, like, I'm supportive of sort of their goals here. I'm sort of wondering what a little temperature check of the student senate. I know it's like they don't have details, and that's kind of, don't want to put the cart before the horse or whatever, but,
Well, I've said this before, but I'm not in favor of cutting the ties with Boeing. That would directly harm our students in my college, specifically our manufacturing supply chain management students. That would take away opportunities for development, like the Boeing case competition. And you take away jobs. I know people have gotten jobs from that case competition, from winning that case competition. And it's a really important part of that program, and it provides lots of opportunities for those students and students not in that program. So personally, I'm not in favor of that because of the impacts it would have on my college particularly.
Yeah, I understand that concern, yeah, no.
I think my personal views probably don't reflect my position. I like thinking about going, from my understanding, I think there's scholarships. Specifically in the college of the environment, and I think the college of science and engineering. So I could see that being a problem. And obviously the recipients of the scholarships. So I think that would be a concern, but also that, like,
Yeah, the only comment I have on this is that we did pass a resolution in regard to like Israel-Palestine conflict. And I think that some other action of support, like some sort of actual, like, I don't know, it just, for me, I don't know, this is a big discussion, but a resolution like only goes so far, and it kind of would suck if like those are just our words and we don't promote action. But I also understand that if there are like serious like concerns in terms of like how it would affect our student population. But I think that that's just something that I was thinking about.
You Casey. Yeah. Any other questions? All right, sorry, any other opinions? Is that a hand, sorry?
kind of, yeah, I mean, I to understand the concerns of like how it would impact students, financially and just honest career wise. But like JC was saying, like, is there a way that we can still show solidarity with them, but, address
Yeah.
those concerns?
I think, sort of the aspect is for student government to pass some form of resolution. If that resolution is not entirely carrying sort of their platform, that's not necessarily like a loss for them, I think. If there's particular concerns we have with some of the demands, that is something that, we could sort of not put in a resolution. I think the faculty senate, when they sort of endorsed our fossil fuel divestment resolution, they endorsed it with the stipulation that they actually didn't like it would be called fossil fuel divestment. So I think that's certainly something we could do. Yeah. Is there anything from anyone online? If not, we should move on. No, okay. Is there? Okay, I got you.
Oh, sorry.
All right, then I'm going to move on to the next agenda item. And that's the supporting ETSD bargaining resolution. This document one, the draft, but first I sort of want to go over, sort of some context, about, especially like that email that we all got from Adam. So I think the specific concern is that, okay. The specific concern is that if the student government were to adopt a resolution that's sort of supporting specific bargaining proposals from, the UAW and WWU and collective bargaining, that because everyone in student government is, a member of the bargaining unit and is represented by the, bargaining committee, that could, appear or materially be a conflict of interest, especially since sort of the topic of this resolution and the act from, some of the educational student employees that had emailed us, was to, sort of support fee waivers, and so like we'd sort of be supporting fee waivers that would also affect us. Yeah, I think that was the concern, and then, so Adam has reached out, I confirm that he has reached out to the Assistant Attorney General for sort of guidance with regards to what does, is there a conflict of interest, issue here, is there like a legal issue here? And we don't like have a clear answer on that yet, there hasn't been, there's due diligence there. Yeah. I guess that, I think that sort of covers the background, I don't know, you have stuff that I didn't cover, but I feel like I covered most of it.
Yeah, just like, therefore, if y'all were to move forward with something like this now, before you have legal clarity, it could potentially look super backfires. I'm trying to get,
That's probably Sophie.
Oh, it didn't lock? Is this locked? Oh, that's weird. Okay.
anyway, yeah, basically, like, if you guys decide to push this resolution through and like make it an official thing, put it on the website, all the jazz, that could potentially be something illegal and make you look really, really bad. And we just would highly recommend that you just don't until you hear back from the AAG. And more generally speaking, like as elected officials in governing body, it's your job to, you know, govern, do your work, be on committees, voice your concerns, represent the students, all that jazz. Whenever you are in a situation like this, where there's a legal question that you don't know the answer to, the whole point of having the Office of the Attorney General is so that y'all can ask these kinds of questions. Like, it's basically just a team of lawyers that knows all the things, and they're there to support elected officials and governing bodies. So this kind of thing happens all the time, and so we're just sort of recommending that y'all just don't move forward with anything until we have that legal clarity.
How long does that take?
I mean, it depends. It depends on the complexity of the question and the staffing and resources available to them. I asked a pretty simple question in the fall and got a response within a week. We've also reached out to the AAG about Lola's resolution on food insecurity referendum. And, oh, I meant to say referendum. Anyway, we haven't heard back yet about that. That's been about a week. So, I mean, these things can take some time. It just depends on the complexity. I would not expect to hear back by the end of the week. And beyond that, I really can't say. Yeah.
Other questions about that sort of background? Yeah, Melly?
Well, I have a question for you, because you said that you don't see it as a conflict of interest, curious. Yeah, wanted to see that.
Yeah, I think, so I guess I don't think, and it sort of comes down to my word philosophy, I don't think that, this isn't about my word philosophy. I'm not aware personally of like, any law or policy, and I'm also not a lawyer, that would sort of prohibit us from taking, this action. I think, since it is a resolution is non-binding, I don't think there would be any trouble there. I think that sort of the idea of conflict of interest is dubious because of the sort of nature of representative, like, democracy, insofar as we are all students, and if we are advocating for student interests, then necessarily we're advocating for our own interests. I think that, maybe it's a little bit more complicated now when it comes to, sort of the nature of bargaining. But I don't think it's that sort of big of a difference. And there are, at the University of Washington, their graduate professional student senate are paid, and they have supported bargaining demands from the union that's representing them through a resolution. So it's been done before, and there wasn't a, conflict of interest question raised when it went through UW. So sort of that is what comes to mind for me.
Yeah.
Casey?
Oh yeah, this is just a random other thought, because I definitely don't want us to do something like illegal that will have like repercussions on us, like I agree with that, and that would suck. But also as an educational student employee, I'm in favor of passing it, and it's also hard, yeah, with what you were saying about conflict of interest, I completely agree, I just feel like overall, this is confusing about what is like right and stuff, and I think the reason why it's hard because it's like, we're supposed to represent what's like students, the students that talk to us and communicated with us, and we all got the emails. So I'm like, we're asking us to recognize them, and so it feels weird either way from your point of view to do this without knowing its consequences, but it also feels wrong to ignore the messages we're getting from students. So that is where I stand on it. Yeah.
I mean, y'all can be involved in this in a different capacity that doesn't go through your role in this job. You know, like you can show up to the protest, you can forward emails around, like there's lots of ways to move this cause along that doesn't involve you putting yourself in a potentially compromising situation. But I mean, it is ultimately up to y'all to decide how you proceed.
Yeah, I was just wondering, what are the actual resolving clauses and what are the DACs?
Yeah.
My bad.
So, the specific request was that the student government sort of pass something saying that, sorry, end of the day, my brain stopped working for a second there. The sort of the specific aspect of it was that the student government sort of make a statement just saying that, the administration can legally, waive fees as part of sort of compensation for workers. I think that's the main thing, and then there's also like whether or not we would want to include a clause about, sort of a positive recommendation that actually the university should waive fees. I think right now, in this version, it says that. But I think the sort of the reason why this resolution could be useful to educational community employees is because at bargaining table, and I'm sure all you know, I am one of the bargaining team members for the UAW. But at the bargaining table, the university has been saying that they would be like illegal for them to waive these fees, which does not seem to be coherent with the language that has been passed by referendum of like students should be assessed these fees. Like students don't pay fees all the time. Like people get financial aid, people get credits on their account. Like there's not sort of from my perspective, there's no reason why the university shouldn't be allowed to waive fees. I think like if we were to ask students, do you think that the university should be able to like waive fees for people so like they can afford to go to college? I think people wouldn't be like, oh no, they can be waived all the fees except for the syntax fee, the application fee, and like these other like student imposed fees. Like I don't think that's the position of the student body. And I think because of that, I think I don't know, but I mean that's my opinion. Oh yeah, so
Yeah, I agree that this is a tough situation to be in as Senate. It's kind of a gray area, given that we do represent student voice at the same time we are students. So, is anyone aware of if other universities or specifically UW, for example, student governmental body involved at all, or if like specifically, because I know you mentioned that nothing else has happened at the other universities, so does that mean that their Senate, or not their Senate, but their government, their student government body got involved and?
yeah, so
So sorry.
Got some echo going on. Yeah, so the other, yeah, so there's, at the UW, the Graduate and Professional Student Senate, so that's the, sort of student government for graduate and professional students. So they have it split, because then you can either have it all combined or split, that's what the law says. And so their graduate side did, sort of support, bargaining proposals and bargaining demands of the union that was representing those same, like graduate and professional student senators, like executive officers or whatever, in their governing structure. And from my knowledge, there wasn't, any conflict of interest issues raised in those cases. I can certainly, look into that more and maybe come with a clearer answer. Resolution sponsors, and people in GPSS.
Okay, also, given that the Attorney General, responds at a reasonable time, is there, like, would we still be able to outwardly support this as a student senate if no issues are raised through that office?
I mean, I think sort of as Leona said, there's nothing prohibiting us from like taking whatever actions we want. I think it's sort of like whether or not that would be a legal or advisable action, and whether or not we want to do that. So I think that in the case where there are no red flags raised, I mean, even without sort of the due diligence, I'm still sort of, I mean, I brought the resolution forward, I'm sponsor of it, but, I mean, yeah, I think that in that case, it would probably, like if the Senate wants to, it would be appropriate to adopt it, and fine, I think would be my answer.
Sorry,
Oh, go ahead.
is there a timeline on their request to have us put out a statement? Like, you just a general?
Yeah, I mean, I think I think it's probably more time sensitive than some of the other, right, like, I think if we were, like, our AI group one, or like our SAP recommendations one, is maybe not as time sensitive as something like this, or something like the BDS one. I think that if it takes us like 3 weeks to get through it, it's not ideal, but it's also not the worst thing.
So, I mean, the way I see it, based on those clauses, I feel like the biggest legal issue in my mind. Also not an attorney. But I think the dispute that I heard was in whether or not the university can actually waive the fees. So I think that makes me wanna like kind of hold off on this. Because I think there is a credibility risk for our institution if we do endorse and put out this false assertion. I think that does make us look, you know, not the best. But then another thing is the conflict of interest risk real? Because we're not student senators forever. Right? We cannot be student senators forever. I mean, it's like, it's possible, right? And would we even benefit from this, right? Like, is that a realistic thing that could happen, that these bargaining items actually be implemented in a quick enough times where we would actually be affected and benefit from it? Those are just two questions that I have in my mind. Is this conflict of interest risk real? But the fee issue, I think, is definitely real.
Yeah.
I would love for you to email
If
us.
someone else had raised their hand,
I did.
yeah, yeah.
So I'm obviously very new to this still, so I'm not sure if this is possible. I think, I forgot who said it, but I definitely feel that the non-responding to emails thing was a little bit weird for me. just because this person like spent the time to email all of this. So I'm wondering if it's possible to put together a response that just says like, yeah, we see you, we're discussing things like more professional. And we're excited to get back to you soon. Like, I don't know if that's the thing.
I like that idea.
Yeah, I think that would be great.
I think that's great. I think reassuring whoever contacted us that this issue is being heard and being consulted helps sort of like the brand ask senators that like, yes, we're doing something about what you're saying. At the same time, without taking too much of a stance, risking a conflict of interest. Because we're not making any promises yet. We're just saying we're seeing what's being asked.
I would also add, I think, Gabe, but most appropriate individual to do that.
Yeah, I can send out, the BCC guys, so
And
can't respond, but, yeah.
the follow-up that I've done with individuals with email this, I've CC'd you on. So
Oh, yeah.
you see,
Yeah, I think I saw it, yeah, there was a follow-up from,
yeah.
I think but I can send a follow-up also, just to, follow-up, yeah. Follow-up,
I'll follow up on it.
Okay,
Circle back.
we have 5 minutes left and I do want to move on. So we're gonna move on unless someone wants to object to that. No, we're moving on, great. Oh God, I did not keep us on track, that's fine. We have get out the vote tabling. I don't know if you wanna talk about that,
Get out the vote tabling, tabling to get people to vote for next year's candidates for gov. Very exciting. It's run by the Office of OCE. I know I've been doing a lot of the outreach efforts for getting candidacy filed, and that was cool. But get out the vote tabling is firmly an OCE, Office of Civic Engagement responsibility. So Mallory and Isaac, the staff over there are running that. They have just asked me to let you all know that, for the week of May 13th to May 17th, which is the time that voting opens, they're gonna have 2 tables on campus and they're just looking for people to staff those tables and they really need some support. So yeah, I'll email y'all a spreadsheet, sign up sheet once I get it from Mallory. So you'll hear more info about that. And then lastly, I just wanted to say an update about, candidate filing is super exciting news. Every single position has at least 1 candidate. Yay, which means yay, yay. So that means like, 2 senators at least for every college and presidents, and it's very exciting. So, yeah, it's like the best year so that they've had in a long time as far as like getting people to run for gov. So yeah, shout out to you guys.
That's
good job.
That's great.
Yeah, okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Let me email you guys something. There's no time for questions, moving on to the reporting process.
Tease me.
And we're gonna speed run the rest of this meeting, guys.
Do it.
Facts.
Then everybody let's go to.
Yeah, so I move that we table this because I actually do want to spend 15 minutes on it. And it's a discussion with discussion questions.
That's great.
And I don't think that it would be a valuable use of our time. I'd like to hear from MJ.
Do you mind if I explain what the discussion item is first? So this is the vacancy. Yeah. Okay, so like the way that we filled vacancies in the Senate this year was very chaotic and we didn't really have a process for it. Those of you that came into the Senate mid-year may feel some of that perhaps, who knows? You can give Daisy your feedback on that in your meeting with her. But basically like Daisy, Nellie, and Gabe and I have worked a lot on like updating our official process for filling vacancies. And part of that is we want to look at our interview questions and maybe ask different or better interview questions. So this discussion this discussion item is for y'all to have some guiding questions about the interview questions and get some feedback from you on it. The rubric you see there is literally the rubric that all of us used all year. So just please come into the next meeting like with a lot of ideas because I will frantically take notes and we will literally use your feedback for updating our process for next year. Yeah, just a few people in one-on-ones were kind of like, what is this? I don't understand. So I just wanted to clarify what that's what this is.
Yeah, maybe take a little look-see
Oh.
and, have some ideas, have some thoughts.
I should have just said that.
All right, we're gonna move on.
Yeah,
Okay, we're gonna move on. Action items, I don't have anything. We're gonna go to other business. And it starts with our TFTA editor report.
Thank you so much. Hi, everyone. Long time no see. I'm so sorry that it's been so long since I got to see your gorgeous faces. This meeting takes time during my class, but I really wanted to be here today so I can personally share some reports as to what I've been doing in my position at the College of Fine and Performing Arts. Specifically, I wanted to talk about my biggest project that, if y'all remember, at the beginning of the year, was a big goal of mine, which is the CFPA listening sessions for BIPOC students and students with disabilities. Since I only and currently serve on the ACI committee, I wanted to do something that could inform their initiatives moving forward. For several months, I've been working to organize a space and time for BIPOC students and students with disabilities to speak directly with the dean. And I've done so because my dean doesn't get a lot of opportunities to just interact with students in general. He's so like cooped up in his office, working with faculty and admin, that it's not often he gets to hear from students other than me. So on April 11th and 12th, I had a total of 3 students in attendance. And though the turnout was not stellar, it is a step in the right direction because each individual story is invaluable. So if anyone, I want to say before discussing, if anyone plans for those listening sessions, I encourage fellow senators to do the same thing, to create those spaces for their constituents, speak directly to the people in charge. And specifically, if you're gonna have BIPOC students, marginalized communities, students with disabilities, I implore you to compensate the emotional labor it takes for them to share their personal experiences. So based on the feedback, I've gained 2 insights. Firstly, though some students of color mostly feel included in the same classes and feel included in the classes and experiences to take a part of, through syllabuses, land acknowledgement, and teaching practice, it's common for some students to realize they're often the only non-white student in their cohort. And because of this, some might feel the need to overcompensate how to act in order to fit in with the group. Some of these overcompensations might look like trying to look less intimidating for other people, or anything to be seen as an individual first by their well-meaning white peers. Some students expressed that they felt pressure to uphold a pleasing image of a larger community they might be representing amidst a mostly white college. And some students worry about being treated as a monolith for all BIPOC experiences. Second is, at least in the theater department, representation does matter. The chair of my department, Rich Brown, says this: the best method of college retention is each other. And it doesn't help that there's a lack of BIPOC representations in the shows being produced in the theater department. And this can be discouraging for incoming BIPOC students just starting to hone their talents. So the lower retention further diminishes the possibility of a diverse talent pool for casting directors to pull from to produce stories centered around non-white experiences. So my proposal to increase retention is a way to nourish the BIPOC talent in our college that cultivates a community and inspires each other and looks out for one another. So moving forward, I'm working to start a Black and Brown theater collective in the CFPA in order to create an accessible talent pool for directors to reference and a community space so that other BIPOC students feel like they belong in the careers they're learning. So moving forward, I could really use some support from anyone who has experience forming a club or has worked with an ESC or working with their administrators and departments in starting new programming. I reported these findings to my committee and they told me that best practice, this will be an initiative through the college and funded through the college. And I thank you for listening, and I encourage all my colleagues to continue meeting youth students with empathy and consciously choosing to employ a person-centered communication.
Thank you. Very well said. I will give like 1 minute for questions. We'll have time. Pause. Yeah.
I'm wondering, maybe I missed it. Did you have like a certain set of questions or was it just open?
I did come in with a certain set of questions, but I also made sure to start off, to have room for folks that had, some feedback that they already came prepared for.
I think that's super cool. I've definitely heard, a lot of similar like feelings around feeling like people don't belong within CFPA, unlike BIPOC and like other marginalized students, in my limited like capacity in that college. But, I've definitely heard that, and I think it's so cool that you're like starting this on your own, and I think that's super awesome. And I had another question, so actually one question, which is, for your Black and Brown student collective, is that exclusively, I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. Was that exclusively for like students that are in theater? Or is it like college-wide?
I would say college-wide.
All the artists. That's so cool.
Absolutely. I hope my sort of practice of starting a listening session encourages others to get the ball rolling in their own colleges too. I know the first session and planning can be difficult, but once you get all that in place, it'd be easy to implement at least once a quarter.
Where did you hold it again?
I held it in a space reserved on Nazebo. I held it in Miller Hall.
If you guys ever need help reserving rooms, talk to Leona. He's the gazebo.
I got you.
All right,
I got you.
then I'm gonna move on to Sophie.
Yeah.
Was gonna talk to us about something.
Yes.
That sounds great.
Yeah, I promise it'll be 2 minutes. I'm sorry, guys. I do have to.
Yeah, and if you have to go, that's fine. We're not like taking out.
Yeah,
so
no,
many things,
no,
so-
you need to go, you can go, but, so I'm Sophie Snyder, I'm the ASWWU Student Services, and I just wanted to ask you guys if you wanted to be involved in a project I'm working on. I'm trying to kind of get the word out on underused services, and I'm starting with the Career Services Center. And I'm gonna kind of do, if you guys have watched like the 50 questions of Vogue videos where they like, kind of go and ask them, because I just feel like that's a more engaging format than, going and talking to people about something. Like social media is really helpful for that. So if you would like to be involved, I know you guys are all like marketing rock stars is what I've heard. So I would love for you guys to be involved. Just Tina's message me. I'm probably gonna do it next week, but like if that doesn't work for you, let me know. I would love for you guys to be involved. That's it. Thank you.
That's so cool.
Can I,
Sophie.
Claire, yeah, question for your last name. Okay.
So Snyder, SNYDER.
Cool.
Thank you so much.
All right, that concludes our business for today.
Thanks, Sophie.
So I'm gonna go ahead and adjourn our meeting at 6:05 p.m.
Yeah.
I'm giving.
Wow, that was a robust meeting. I thought these meetings would be like,
Oh, there's no.
I asked you, right?
but no, a lot going on.
You said there was a previous,
Yeah.
You mean at the end of or on the track, it's possible that someone applied and they're not for some reason, whether it's too gay or they actually graduated